Hi friends, this is your friend Arun from Live in Germany channel. So today I'm back again with another interesting video on topic of interest rate inflation, whether the interest rate drop will happen this year, how deep it will drop, and also is it still a right time to take a personal loan and invest in India? For example, like a lot of customers do ask me this question. So I have collected many articles for you in order to know in detail about this. Feel free to read this in your free time. The links are in description. So before I jump into this video, if you're interested to take a personal loan and you're working in Germany and you have a blue card PR, resident permit, German citizenship, feel free to book an appointment. The link is given in the comment section. Now let's go on to the video. So now let's go on to the video. A small introduction for those who are completely new. European Central Bank. So what is European Central Bank? It is like Reserve Bank of India, who determines or fixes the interest rate at which they borrow money to smaller banks, and we as private individuals, we cannot borrow from ECB or Reserve Bank of India. We can borrow only from the regional banks. This is why based on their interest rate, they give us more, like 4.5 is current ECB's interest rate. The banks have to add little bit on top to make their profit. So this is also the answer for those who are asking me, why don't we get loans like before at 2%? Because European Central Bank is offering at 4.5 and other banks has to offer more so that they have to pay their boss. So in simple words, yeah, this is one of the key factors. So what is the current state of this value? This is currently at 4.5 percentage. And there was a meeting last week as I'm making this video where they determined that there will not be any kind of interest rate cut happening in the month of April. This means for the next 3 months, we can expect the interest rate to stay the same. So if you are thinking like, okay, let me just wait each month, that means you can at least find out that next 3 months, there will not be any interest rate drop in picture. What about in the month of June, Arun? The next meeting is in the month of June. So let me tell you now why in month of June or June 4th edition actually will also can have something similar like this. So to understand how the interest rate will develop, we also have to understand another important data, which is inflation. So interest and inflation are highly related. So if inflation is high, the government will increase the interest rate in order to control the inflation. This is what has happened, and this is why they have also not cut down the interest rate in month of April. I'll explain. So European zone in general is having an inflation of 2.4% now. The European Bank wants the inflation to be a target value of 2%. So it's little bit more than 2. And in Germany, currently the inflation is at 2.2%. So this is a positive sign when we look at the initial data. But the bankers don't look at the whole sum, like the whole inflation, but they look into the core inflation. The core inflation percentage is nothing but inflation excluding like inflation without energy and food prices. So which is currently at 3.3%. So that is why in the month of April, they decided not to increase or decrease and just leave the interest rate like that. So if this continues also in the month of June, they will still not increase the interest rate. And if they have to cut the interest rate, it will not be a very deep cut, like suddenly 1% or 2% of interest rate drop. Probably they'll cut 0.25%. But let me tell you why the chances is very less. And please put in comment what you also think about it. So point number one is the gas heating, which was the VAT was reduced, the VAT tax was reduced, and it is at currently 7. They have again brought it back to the 19%. That means in the coming months, we will be paying more for gas heating. Also, the other important factor is a lot of service providers, like for example, we know Lufthansa has increased the salaries of its employees. So when such a thing happens, service providers increase the service fees what they take from customers. This means as a customer, if I have to use Lufthansa, for example, in future, so I'm just giving an example, it can be another service provider also. So for example, then that means I'm going to put more money, which means service is costly, inflation goes up. Also, the still conflict globally is still same. That means the oil prices are also high. That means in general, the chances that the inflation will go down in next month is very, very less. If it happens, it's good, but we don't see this happening right now. This means the interest rate will still continue to be the same, or even if it drops, the drop will be very minimal, which will not be impacting you. But okay, all this is fine and we understood this. So what about personal loan and interest rate you are telling? So when the interest rate drops, I also expect that actually if the interest rate drops, the value of currency and interest rates are like kind of directly correlated. There are a lot of other parameters like how good the economy is, the job loss. But for example, let's take the inflation, interest rate. So if the interest rate drops, the value of euro also drops. That means the exchange rate at which you are getting right now, like 89 rupees for example, will also go down to say 88, 87, 85 or whatever possible. And in the previous video, I mentioned about the current job loss situation in Germany with stats. So if you also look at that, you can determine the current economy in general is weak. So in a weak economy, the currency value will naturally fall down. So if this falls down, you can take a loan when the exchange rate is good, and then you can pay back when the exchange rate goes down. Also, when the interest rate goes down, you can refinance that loan with a different lower interest rate and still save some money. So there are two possible ways. It's kind of a strategy I use personally and also what I wanted to share with you. Hope this was useful. If you want to understand this more deeply and you want to take a loan, feel free to book an appointment. Otherwise, I really thank you for the time. If you're watching till the end, I wish you all a happy weekend. Thank you and bye-bye.